Figures for Toronto home sales came out yesterday showing a 23% drop in March from the same time a year ago. To talk about all the factors having an impact on home sales, including interest rates, let's bring in John Pasalis. He's president of Realosophy Realty. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so a 23% drop March 2024 to this year, which is quite significant, and there's a great deal of supply. What's your read on what's going on here?
Well, the biggest factor is, this is the lowest sales volumes for the month of March in over 25 years. And really what is happening right now is all of this economic uncertainty has pushed a lot of home buyers to the sidelines. A lot of people don't want to make an expensive purchase when they're worried about their economy and they're worried about their jobs. And that's what we're seeing on the ground. A lot of people are anxious. They don't know if they're going to be impacted. So a lot of people have moved to the sidelines.
We've seen interest rates come down, which we thought would spur people off the sidelines to bring in. It's just the macro picture. I guess people are just looking around and thinking, I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to be the very big difference between this, if we have a rate cutting cycle now compared to the previous ones, which were very stimulative for housing, it's that the economic conditions are completely different. A low rate environment alone is not enough. If you're worried about losing your job, it doesn't really matter how low rates go. You're not going to be rushing in to buy a house.
Talk to me about affordability, because I know prices have dropped. What else are you seeing here?
Well, the challenge is that prices are still very expensive. Even though they've come down from the peak of the market, between sort of rates and prices, it is challenging to get into the market. In Toronto and in Vancouver, the biggest cities, home prices are 9 to 10 times household income. So it's still a very tough market to buy in.
What are people looking for? Have people also changed sort of what they're after? We know there are excess condos in the market, so that has suffered. But are people changing their minds in the sense that they're not looking for a standalone home? Maybe they're looking at a semi. Are you seeing any of that?
So there's two trends we're seeing in the market now. Certainly the starter home is the most active and the busiest. And this is typically low rise, 3+ bedroom homes. And the market that is the slowest is the micro condo market. Those buyers have disappeared because that has largely been dominated by investors. So the low-rise market for houses, even though it's slow, it's still busy. You still get some competition. You still get bidding wars because there are buyers looking for those types of homes.
So talk to me about what you expect moving forward, because spring, we know, is typically a booming time for real estate. Right now, we have the major markets in the country kind of in that holding pattern. And now we've got the tariff war full-fledged announced this week. Yeah. What are you looking for in April and May?
So what we're looking for is some macro stability, some clear indication of where the economy is going, where tariffs are going. And I think this is what buyers and sellers are going to be looking for. They're going to want an extended period where things are clear about where the market's going, where the economy is going, that their jobs are secure before they jump in. So I don't think things are going to be busy the second quarter. Maybe in the last half of this year, buyers still to jump in if we get more clarity on the economy.
Talk to me about supply side for a moment, because now a lot of homes are sitting. So how are you advising those who are putting their homes up for sale now or intend to?
Yeah, again, if you have a low-rise home, if you have a single-family home, the market is still busy. If you price it right, you stand out well. Condo market is a lot more challenging. Sellers have to stand out. They have to be priced well. Some are still pricing at the peak prices or between and trying to get more than what they're worth, so they're sitting on the market a little longer.
We are in an election campaign mode. We're hearing a lot of promises from different federal parties, not paying GST, up to $1 million or up to $1.3 million. Here's how to save for a home. We don't know who's going to end up in power by the end of the month. That being said, what are you like that you're hearing from party leaders?
I think some of the policies that are going to potentially stimulate new housing construction, in particular rental construction, tax incentives are positive. Removing GST on new home purchases for first-time buyers are positive. So there are definitely some positive measures, but we're not going to get to housing affordability anytime soon. It takes a long time, and it's going to be a challenging process getting there.
Okay, so you mentioned what advice you kind of have for sellers at this time. What about buyers?
So buyers, it's a buyer's market. I think buyers need to behave quite differently. They need to be looking for value. They need to be negotiating, especially in the markets that are slower and homes are sitting on the market. So I think they shouldn't be shy. It's not 2021. They can be a little bit more aggressive when they're negotiating.
Okay, so you said you don't think the second quarter necessarily will pick up. If we get another interest rate cut this month, Could that shake something loose?
No, I don't think so. I mean, even if rates drop and fixed rates look like they're dropping, like I said, I don't think it's going to be enough to see a big change. We need some certainty, some stability before buyers jump in at any big numbers. So it might have a little bit of an impact, but I don't think it's going to be a turnaround that, I mean, some people in the industry are hoping for.
I asked you what you liked about what you saw from the federal politicians. What would you actually like to see from them?
I mean, what I'd like to see is some consideration of sort of this process that we've been seeing in Canada, where a lot of our housing stock's being bought by investors. It's kind of changing the makeup of our housing market. The younger generation is getting shut out, and there aren't any policies that are even thinking about that right now.
Okay, so something that needs to be addressed, which those sort of buys are pumped out as rentals instead of perhaps going on the market as for sale for
owner-occupiers, exactly.
All right, John, I got to leave it there, but thank you very much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, trade tensions fueling and pushing Canadians to shift their shopping